Another way in which I think we're deceived into this idea that if we're identified with a group, we'll be received as part of the group by God, whatever we ourselves are like, is found in the great happening that is taking place in different parts of the world, and we hope maybe even in the Twin Cities soon. Do you know that even Northern Irish Protestants, at least I know one Northern Irish Protestant, would love to be a Polish Catholic? And the reason is because of that dear man, Pope John Paul. And I think he makes us all want to be Polish Catholics, because he's such a bright and such a dear person. And when you see him holding up a baby and smiling, or when you see him reaching out with his smile to touch all the people, you feel, oh, he is just a godly man, and we thank God for him. And yet it's very easy for us to pervert even that kind of thing. And we think there's Pope John Paul, and there's Billy Graham, and there are some other men of God, and they certainly must know God, and God certainly must know them, so maybe if we can touch them, or if we can be their friends, or if we can be close to them, then we'll be received by God along with them. Or many of us apply that to a group. We look round for a group that seems to have spiritual integrity, and that seems to do and act the way God's people are meant to, and then we become part of that group, and we think, well, we're part of this group, so certainly when they're all received into God's presence, we won't be left behind. Now, loved ones, human beings cannot help us in our salvation at all. God has no grandchildren, and God has no friends of friends. God has only children and his own personal friends. And you have that expressed in 1 Corinthians 3, and you'll remember the verses when we read it. 1 Corinthians 3 and verse 5. 1 Corinthians 3 and 5. It's page 992. What then is Apollos? What is Paul? Servants through whom you believed, as the Lord assigned to each. I planted, Apollos watered, but God gave the growth. So neither he who plants nor he who waters is anything, but only God who gives the growth. He who plants and he who waters are equal, and each shall receive his wages according to his labor. For we are God's fellow workers. You are God's field, God's building.